All right, let's talk about why your muscle recovery might be hitting a wall. The surprising thing is, the answer probably has very little to do with your actual physical training. So let's dive into this. It's a super frustrating question, isn't it? You're putting in the work, you're trying to rest, but you're just stuck dealing with constant soreness and recovery that feels like it's moving at a snail's pace. You've probably blamed everything, your program, your diet, maybe even getting older. But what if the real problem is hiding somewhere you've never even thought to look? And this is where things get really interesting. The core idea here is that the bottleneck, it's not in your muscles, it's in your mind. Seriously, the key to unlocking better physical healing is all about mastering a few high-level cognitive skills. So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to pinpoint the real barrier to your recovery. Then we'll get into the 2 critical mental skills you absolutely need to build. From there, we'll break down 5 super common mental mistakes that are probably holding you back. And finally, we'll pull it all together to build the right mindset for real, lasting healing. Okay, let's kick things off with the big picture. The actual thing stopping you from recovering faster isn't a lack of the right supplement or some magic stretch. It's a failure in how you think about the whole process. And this gets right to the heart of the problem. Psychologists have a term for it: low metacognition. Basically, it's the inability to step back, look at your own thinking and your own behavior, and actually figure out what's going wrong. You're just stuck on this hamster wheel, making the same mistakes over and over because you can't even see them, and it's holding your physical recovery completely hostage. So to break that loop, to get off the hamster wheel, we need to really understand 2 key cognitive concepts that are at the center of all this. You know, getting a handle on these is the first major step to fundamentally changing your recovery game. So first, let's properly define low metacognition. It's when you just can't reflect on your own thought processes. It's like you consistently forget to hydrate after a workout. You feel awful and sore the next day, and then you just wonder why. The thought, maybe I'm sore because I didn't drink enough water, never fully connects. You just keep making the same mistake because you're not analyzing the cause and effect of your own choices. Now, the second piece of this puzzle is what's called weak executive function. The easiest way to think about this is like the CEO of your brain. And when that CEO is kind of weak, you're going to struggle with planning, with focus, and with actually following through on things. This is exactly why sticking to a consistent sleep schedule or a detailed nutrition plan can feel almost impossible, even when you know it's what you need to do for recovery. Okay, so now let's see how these 2 big concepts, low metacognition and weak executive function, actually show up in the real world. We're going to walk through 5 specific cognitive failures that are actively sabotaging your physical healing. This table right here is pretty much our roadmap for the next few minutes. On the left, you've got a common behavior that's stalling your recovery, and on the right, the psychological term behind it. We're going to cover ignoring pain, avoiding the boring stuff, repeating mistakes, lacking focus, and rushing the process. Don't worry about that last one, lack of system 2 dominance. We'll explain it. Let's break each of these down. First up, ignoring pain. You know what I'm talking about. You feel that sharp, bad pain during a workout, and your immediate reaction is just to push through it. That isn't being tough. It's weak impulse control. You're acting on pure instinct without pausing for even a second to think strategically about the long-term damage you might be doing. So this gets at a huge idea in psychology, the difference between fast thinking and slow thinking. Fast thinking is your system 1. It's that gut reaction, that impulse. But truly effective recovery, that requires what's called system 2 dominance. That's your slow, analytical brain stepping in, taking a breath, analyzing that pain signal, and making a smart, strategic choice instead of a dumb, reactive one. Failure number 2, avoiding the boring but totally necessary steps. Yeah, we're talking about dedicated foam rolling, deep stretching, or making sure you get to bed instead of watching one more episode. When you consistently dodge these things that aren't very exciting, it's a sign of low cognitive flexibility. Basically, an unwillingness to do things that are good for you, but not immediately fun. Next up, we have repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again. And here he is again, our main villain, low metacognition. This is when you're always dehydrated or sleeping poorly, but then you blame your protein powder for not recovering well. You're just not connecting your actions to the results, so you're totally doomed to repeat the cycle without ever learning a thing. Failure number 4 is a big one, a lack of sustained focus, especially on the complex stuff like nutrition and sleep. These things aren't one-and-done deals, right? They need constant planning, attention, and effort. This is a classic sign of weak executive function. If your attention span is short, you're going to have a really hard time keeping up the mental energy needed for these absolute cornerstones of recovery. And the final failure? You rush the process. After an injury or just a really tough week of training, your impatience just takes over and you jump right back into high-intensity work way too soon. This is a failure to delay gratification. Real healing only happens when you let that slow, strategic part of your brain, your System 2 thinking, take the wheel and respect the timeline your body actually needs. So, we've laid out all the problems. Now, how in the world do we fix them? Well, the solution starts by consciously choosing a new mindset for healing, one that directly targets and corrects these cognitive patterns. And look, this is absolutely critical to understand. This is not an attack on how smart you are. These are just mental habits, and the good news is they are correctable patterns. Just recognizing them is a huge first step. The second is to start treating recovery not as some passive waiting game, but as an active skill you can train, just like you train in the gym. It's about training your mind to be just as disciplined as your body. At the end of the day, it really all comes down to this one powerful idea. Your body has this incredible, innate ability to repair itself. The real question is whether your mind will get out of its own way and let it. Healing takes time, it takes analysis, and it takes sustained focus. And all of those are things that you have the power to control. So I want to leave you with this question to really think about. After hearing about these 5 failures, which one really hit home for you? Which one made you say, oof, that's me? What is the one old, destructive pattern that you will commit to breaking starting today? Because when you start breaking these old mental patterns, you're doing so much more than just healing your muscles faster. You're building a version of yourself that's more strategic, more patient, and way more in tune with what your body needs. If you found this psychological take on fitness helpful, make sure you subscribe for more insights to help you on that journey. Thanks for tuning in.